Hey Puddins, my name is Sade Page, also known as What Page Is It, and today I am wearing a wig because I need to wash my hair. But they're here today because we are going to be reviewing all these comics that came out for the month of October. Well, this is not all of them, but these are like the prime key ones that I want to share with you guys that I think are worth you reading if you haven't yet, which I highly recommend these. So let's get started. So for the first ones, it's actually going to be two of them because two of the issues came out within the same month of October, is the Vampire State Building. So basically what's happening with these guys is that in the Empire State Building on the 75th floor, there was like a hidden room that was accidentally opened, and they ended up letting out the vampire god, which caused all these vampires to show up into the Empire State Building, attacking everybody. And then we learned that was within the first issue. In the second issue, we then learned that the vampires are some sort of old ancient cult. Basically is that the vampire god, once he's fully fed and regenerated, that he will release a howl that will basically cause the world to end. And all of his legions of vampires will destroy everyone, which is crazy. It's very gory, bloody. It's vampires, so to recommend the Vampire State Building. Next, I have the very reflective and gorgeous Buffy the Vampire comic, but actually it's called the Hellmouth. This is the foil variant, and in this issue, Drusilla ends up stabbing Spike to start the opening of the Hellmouth. So apparently there's two parts that need to be done in order for the Hellmouth to be opened, and that's also a plot twist that happens near the end of the issue, as well as that the sky is on fire right now. There's these like demon-looking rats, there's things flying around. This is basically now a beacon for all things evil to come to town, and the Scooby Gang is in the middle of a high school Halloween party, and they're trying to kind of gather everyone, get help, and then Buffy ends up meeting Angel for the first time, and they're kind of tag teaming to try to like stop Drusilla and stop the world ending as we know it. So yeah, it's I'm excited to see what happens next. So this is actually issue 1 out of 5, and there will be another issue coming out this month of November. Next we have, this is what I'm really excited about, is Luna Snow. It's basically the Marvel's first Korean K-pop star. She's a singer as well as fighter or superpowers. She's kind of has these snow powers. I'm obsessed with her hair. I like kind of want to dye my hair like this, but I think I'll just buy a wig and then save my locks and not worry about it. But basically, within this, the character, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, is Seo Hee. I'm probably butchering the name, but her stage name is Luna, which I can't pronounce, so her stage name Luna. In this issue, we learn how Luna gained her powers. It happened in the middle of a concert. Luna Snow was actually first introduced in Marvel in April 2015, and during Marvel Future Fight, I guess it's called. And then this is actually the pop star's first solo comic, which is a big deal, I think, and especially since it being a newer character and not as popular, I think it's really great to see new characters appearing within comics, especially women as well. Next I have the Amazing Mary Jane, who is also getting her first solo comic, which this one is not so action-packed. It's kind of making fun of how Marvel portrayed her within all the movies and stuff. Basically the storyline is that she's on a film set and she's the lead role, but the film's kind of like Breaking Bad of villains. Her character is supposed to be like, is in love with Mysterio and is being a villain, fighting with him. Her character in the film is supposed to be very ditzy, wearing this tight spandex that makes no sense for any superwoman to wear because it doesn't work. And she even complains like within the comic issue of like, yeah, this ripped twice already the first day. So it's kind of funny how they're making fun of the way that female superheroes are portrayed. Another thing too is that there's not a lot of action. It's kind of like cutesy. It's probably setting up more so the storyline, introducing the reader to Mary Jane and how she wants to be portrayed within this issue, is my interpretation of this. There's also a little bit of a plot twist with who the director of this film is, which I thought was pretty funny. And then Spider-Man does make a little bit of an appearance in it, which is great too. Next we have, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. Next we have Archie and Sabrina, number 4. This is the second to last issue. This one, I wasn't that excited about it. I feel like it's maybe like a filler issue in a sense of being like, everyone everyone's chess pieces are getting set up for the final play. I don't play chess. I don't know, whatever. But basically everyone's like setting up, getting into position for what's gonna happen next. We have Sabrina and Archie sitting in the woods, and they're eating burgers and hanging out, and then like Reggie and Jughead are trying to figure out what happened with who ended up like robbing Reggie's dad's office, and then also too we find out if you find Reggie's dad or not, alive or dead, we don't know. There's basically plot twists for both pairs of characters. Sabrina and Archie have to go running away somewhere because Sabrina senses something's happening, and then a big moment happens for Reggie as well. Next we have the X-Men #1. I got the issue cover where everyone's jumping out of the cake, and I thought it was very cute. I wanted the one where it had all of Jean all over it, but that was the incentive cover, and I wasn't gonna pay a lot of money for that cover, no. So I just got this guy, which I'm still obsessed with, highly obsessed. In this issue, I feel there's a lot going on, so I'm a little confused, but I feel like if you know what's going on in X-Men, can you let me know? But I'm going to say I still did like it. It started off with Cyclops first getting his goggles from Xavier, so he's able to see without it, and then it goes into a rescue mission that Cyclops is involved in, and then they go to their summer house that's like, I think it's on a blue moon? I think it's where they are? I don't really know, but they literally have like a map layout of where everyone's like beds are, where the kitchen is, so when you're like reading the storylines, you're understanding where everyone is and where their settings and where like their ships are. So that's kind of cool to get like a better understanding of the layout of the land within the comic. And then we also have like this evil scientist, which what would a comic book be without an evil scientist like that? And so yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with this guy in this new one. The next one comes out, I believe, November 13th. Am I right? Am I right? Yes, November 13th will be issue 2, so I'll definitely be picking it up then too. Next we have Snow White Zombie Apocalypse. This was so weird, but kind of good. It's kind of like all the characters being your traditional fairy tale characters being in the middle of a zombie apocalypse where everyone's literally zombies and attacking each other, and it's very, the artist detail in making this disgustingly gory is insane. I applaud them, and I'm weirded out by this. I don't know I don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm interested to see what happens next. I'm not sure when the next issue comes out, but I'm definitely gonna pick it up. So I definitely recommend this if you want like a little bit of a giggle, as if seeing like, you know, Rapunzel being like a zombie killer. Next we have The Mask. I pledge allegiance to The Mask. This is also very gory, so I'm used to The Mask being Jim Carrey's character in the movie where he's like, you know, a little bit crazy or whatever. But with this, it's basically like murder. A lot of murder happens here. And again, very gory, but good. And then apparently there's like a campaign happening, but it first starts out with there's like kids in a foster home, and the foster parents are legit crappy people, and then the mask shows up and decides to slaughter everyone. This is not a spoiler, this is literally just the intro. It's just kind of like a little into what's going on here. And then I don't even know, a woman that's trying to run for president, I believe, is dealing with issues within town. Basically, there's a bunch of things happening all at once, and then where it's going to lead to where whomever wears the mask next is trying to run for president is what they're lining it up with. So I'm kind of curious to see where all these characters are going to come into one and see how it goes, because there's it's twisted. It's some twisted stuff happening and dark, but I like it. I like twisted dark. I'm okay, I promise. Next we have from Image Comics, The Marked. I'm honestly very impressed by this. They started, like, when I was reading first about the description of the comic before picking it up, they're saying like, oh, it's like, imagine like a bunch of tatted up influencers, but there ended up actually being like magical tattoos, which I was kind of like, okay, tell me more. So what happens is the storyline sets up in a coffee shop, and the main character ends up seeing this like flyer for recreate this image of this woman of what you see it actually what she is. So the girl goes ahead and the prize is that you get to get a full scholarship to an art school. So she goes ahead and draws up Phoenix and submits it, gets in. Turns out it's some like secret club society to where if you actually see this certain symbol that you're gonna be part of this club of like tatted up people, but like each tattoo is actually powers. So like these people are like covered in like Kat Von D's type style. Like imagine if Kat Von D had superpowers because of her tattoos, like that would be sick. But like her superpowers are like makeup skills, so that's that. It's cool to see what happens here. But then there's like another character that tries to introduce like this fake magic where it's not the traditional sense of it, but it's more of like the half-assed version of it, but that kind of backfires on the main character. So we kind of have a lot happening, but I'm excited to see what else happens next within this issue. The next issue comes out in November. I don't know exactly when. They just tell me November 2019 in the comic, but I'm excited to read it and see what happens next. Alright, last but not least, we have Something is Killing the Children, the second issue. This is probably one of my new favorite comics right now. Okay, Snot Girl is like my numero uno, but this is about to be number 2 because there's something happening. The main character, she's bitter. She's like stubborn, but obviously she has to kill these monsters. But basically, to fill you in on the blanks, is that Something's Killing the Children. There's these monsters that are attacking the kids, but then we realize that within this, if you're a certain age, you might not be able to see them. So that's interesting. So I don't know how she sees them, or can she? There's also the other question that's there. And then we also learn, because if you see on the cover of the first one, you see this little like toy purple octopus thing. Key component. Definitely excited to see what happens because we had more characters introduced, some team ups happening, but I'm just very excited to see where this goes. So definitely add this please to your reading list. It's superb. Highly recommend. And that is all I have for my October comic review. I'm going to try to do weeklies. Let's see if I can. So yeah, that's the goal for November, is to give you weekly reviews, and then I can give you like the comic of a month maybe. We'll see. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to know more about comics, let me know. They're not all superhero related, as you can see, which I like. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!